All right, welcome in Ageless Talk Sports. This is the UFC Fight Night. It is Garry versus Prates, and we'll get into that. We got a 5-leg parlay we usually do on the podcast, and I'm going to be dropping it on YouTube as well. So you YouTube viewers, there's not going to be anything on there. It's just going to be like background UFC, thumbnail, something like that. But hopefully you guys listen. But this is more directed towards the podcast version. But I went ahead and go and drop it on YouTube just to see how many viewers I want to get on it. So we're going to go ahead and just enter into the show here. And according to UFC 6, now when you Google it, the only newest one is on Forbes back in January. But I asked it on Reddit, so I have the app. And here's the question that I asked. So does anyone know when the new UFC 6 will be coming out? And I talk about how Forbes and all that stuff back in January, and I said they really keep it hush hush. And some people are having, crappy ones or whatever. Same day as Aspinall versus Jones, which probably means never. It's out right now, and the one person says it's called UFC 5, but UFC 5 is like junk. And this one person says it's such a horrible, god-awful game. And something about striking and block breaking and the grappling is horrible. Submission game doesn't even exist. It's non-existent and it's nonsense. And I'm just pretty much paraphrasing with Icy Pollution 8323, by the way. Shout out to him. Which I agree. And it's a crap game. UFC 5 sucks. So I'm not playing it. I'm not even buying it. Nothing. Even if it's free, I probably won't even download it. So here's some more. I wanted to go ahead and I'm Temporary Eye 6467, by the way, with my AJ Talk Sports logo on it, if you want to check me out on Reddit. But I play UFC 4. This is what I said. I heard bad reviews on UFC 5, what I just talked about. But I'm a huge career gamer, which I am. And hopefully they make the next one like a really cool career mode, which I talk about with the Ultimate Fighter version, like in the house, would be freaking dope. And Do Law 9710 also said, bro, I never even thought of that. That sounds cool, ASF, but it's EA billion-dollar company, but they're lazy, which is true. Do Law 9710, they really are. So, but it would really be cool if they did do that. It would be so awesome. But like I said, it's EA Sports game. They got the rights to it. People are saying to bring back UFC 3, and some people are saying this is going to be the last UFC game that comes out for UFC 6. I am not sure, but someone says also, Captain Kell says that UFC 5 took 4 years to come out, and they didn't even have a year's worth of gameplay changes, so I wouldn't get so excited for UFC 6. Plus, they're still giving you free fighter updates as well. UFC 6 would just be a $70 roster update, is what he says, and I'm liking that. So this is on my Reddit. This is on EA Sports UFC. Check me out on there as well if you want to check me out on Reddit or whatever. Click on some stuff. I dropped my parlays in there as well. Didn't do very good here recently, so hopefully we can turn it around. So we got some UFC news. I'm not going to go crazy with it. This is according to MMA Junkie. Chael Sonnen confident with Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It says, is agreed all the way down to the date. But we know Aspinall had to defend his interim title. He wins with TKO versus Curtis Blades. Now is at UFC 304 last July. So coming us almost a year later, and then Jones successfully made his first title defense, finishing Stipe Miocic back in November at UFC 309. So it's going back and forth, but according to Good Guy, Bad Guy, here is the quote. I am confident enough to tell you that fight is done, though that fight is agreed all the way down to the date. This is what Chael Sonnen said. That I do have the confidence to tell you International Fight Week would make perfect sense. I personally, just in my heart, I always thought they were going to go back to New York, and that's the end quote on Chael Sonnen. And check out Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen on Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast, but don't listen to me. Anyway, so there's a little update on the Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones fight. If it does happen, which I hope it does, which it should happen, but all roads lead to that matchup. So now we're going to go into my pick'em show, UFC Fight Night pick'ems, and it is Machado Garry versus Prates. So this is UFC Kansas City, UFC Fight Night, Kansas City. It is tomorrow night, or no, Saturday. It's Thursday. Jeez, what day is it? I don't even know. So April 26th on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Check it out. I have ESPN Plus, so it will be showing on that. It'll also be showing on ESPN2. The prelims are going to be starting. Let me look and see real quick here. Prelims start at 6. And if I can remember, last time I did a show and I was going to do a bonus pick, I forgot. So hopefully, remind me. Yell at me. I'm just kidding. I can't hear you. But 6 o'clock prelims on Saturday, and then we're going to do our 5-leg parlay right now. So we're going to take a look at BetMGM. That's where I do all my bets, and we're also going to be taking a look at ESPN Bet. Some are not on there because I just Googled it and all that, and it's on the ESPN stuff. So right now we're going to take a look at the first of the 5-legger, Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. Now, I've listened to UFC Unleashed with Matt Serra and that other dude, the comedian. I forget his name. But this is the welterweight fight, and they had Nicholas Dalby on there. I guess he's 40 years old. He's out of Denmark. Doesn't even have a driver's license, but by the way. Fun fact of the day. Nicholas Dalby does not have a driver's license, and he rides his bike everywhere. All right. But I'm picking Randy Brown. All right. So I'm picking the Jamaican Randy Brown. Rude Boy is what his nickname is. He's 19-6. Let's take a look at his fight history. Here we go. He got a split decision by battle, but I believe some would say Brown did win that fight. And he should be coming off of how many wins streak? That would be a lot. That would be 1, 2, 3. And if you have to win over battle, that's 4. So it'll be a 4-fight win streak, but it was a split decision. His last finish was back in February last year, 2024, against Solikov. And that was a knockout with only 3:17 in the first. So get back to form, Randy Brown, and let's take a look at his bio here. Facts and stats of Randy Brown. He turned pro back in 2014. 7 wins by knockout, 5 by submission, 2 by guillotine, rear naked choke, armbar, and triangle. 4 first-round finishes. Has won 7 of his last 9 and 3 of his last 4. He's discovered on UFC show Dana White Looking for a Fight. He went 4-2 as an amateur. So give me Randy Brown. It's just me, even though they had the dude, the Denmark guy, Dalby, on the podcast today. Give me Randy Brown. Jamaica man. All right. Oh, this was a minus 238, by the way. I think I have 2 dogs in this top 5, this 5-leg parlay. So Randy Brown is your best fight pick there for the welterweight at minus 238. That is according to ESPN. According to BetMGM, he is a minus 250. Minus 250. All right, next. Now I was playing it. So now we're going to Michael Pereira versus, I'm going to probably botch his name up, Abus Magomedov. The German versus Brazilian. Brazil versus Germany. So Michel Pereira is number 14. And then Magomedov is not ranked. And Pereira is at a minus 142. We're going to do the odds first now because I kind of messed up on that one. Minus 142 for Pereira, and Magomedov is at plus 120, according to ESPN. Now we're going to take a look at BetMGM. Pereira is at a minus 140, so it's pretty much identical so far right now. But Magomedov is at plus 120, and he is at minus 115, according to BetMGM, as of Thursday. Okay, so let's take a look at my fighter pick. Demolidor. Is that how you say it? I have no clue. I know a little bit of Spanish, but that's Brazilian, so it's a little off a little bit for me. So let's take a look at his fight history. He fought Hernandez. He lost back in October. He fought Potieria. He won via submission in 54 seconds. He fought Oleg Jicic. He won by submission in the first round. So other than the loss to Hernandez, he went back-to-back submissions in the first and he got the KO against Petrosky, and I believe that was Petrosky's debut back on October 14th of 2023, coming off the Ultimate Fighter Series. So Pereira gets a knockout, submission, and then he gets himself knocked out by Hernandez. But he's going to be coming off that loss. He's going to be fighting better. He's going to be a beast. And let's take a look at his facts and stats here. Turned pro back in 2011. 11 wins by KO, 9 by submission. He's got 3 rear naked chokes, 2 triangles, an arm bar, 2 guillotines, and an arm bar. Triangle arm bar. Arm triangle, sorry. Has won 11 of his last 14 and 8 of his last 9. 14 first-round finishes. Origin of his nickname, which I can't really say. I received this nickname from a friend. That's all it was. Would have won a Fight of the Night bonus for Connolly bout, but missed weight and was ineligible. So hopefully he doesn't miss weight. Hopefully you only do that once in your entire lifetime and career. But 11 wins, 9 wins by submission. Just went back-to-back subs before he got knocked out. So 14 first-round finishes. Dude doesn't play around. So here, I believe that he's going to get the win, and we're going to go 2-0 going into the next fight, going into featherweight. Giga, I think it's Chigadze. Giga, or Giga is Giga. Giga? I'm not sure, but he's number 12. He's a Georgian. Plus 145. He's my dog. He's my dog pick. All right? So we're going to go with David Onama from Uganda. They had a minus 175, but we're picking Giga. And taking a look at BetMGM, they have him at plus 140. So not too bad, and it's about the same. So it's taking a look at Giga. I'm just going to call him Ninja, because I think I'm botching his name out of hell. So I'm just calling him Ninja. 15-4 overall. Taking a look at his fight history. He lost to Allen via unanimous decision. He beat Caceres, unanimous decision. He lost to Qatar, unanimous decision, or Cater. And then he won against Barboza. And we'll have to go all the way back to 2021. So he fought only once in 2022. He lost to Cater. Then he fought only once, and he beat Caceres decision. And then he fought only once last year, and he lost versus Allen. So he's going to kind of be battling back and forth here, trying to get back into his winning ways. But I kind of want to see how he does. And I think he's going to win. He's just a small dog. So not a big dog. He's a small dog. But he's turned pro back in 2015. My dog, Parker, he looked at me like, what the heck? 9 wins by KO, 1 by submission via armbar. Has finished 10 of 15 wins, with 9 finishes coming in the first round. Not recently, though. Those are all decisions. So hopefully he doesn't go all the way to decision and put it in the judge's hands. He needs to get a finish. That's what I believe. He should get a finish in the second round via submission. All right, has won 15 of his last 18 and 10 of his last 12. 6 wins in a minute 17 or less. Has 38-6, 22 knockouts kickboxing record with a 6-3 and 3 KOs record in Glory Kickboxing. Okay, I change it. Knockout. Second round knockout. All right. For Giga, he's going to get the dub, and we're going to go 3-0 going into the next one. Light heavyweight matchup. Number 15 versus an unranked Zhang Mingyang against Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is a kind of a big underdog here at a plus 390. I'm anxious to see what his stats are as a dog. They're going to show it on the screen when you see the fight on Saturday night, because they usually do. And hopefully that pick lady, she'll probably talk about it as well. But China versus America, and I'm not going to pick China. So Anthony Smith, Lionheart, is who I'm going to pick, but he's at a plus 390. Let's take a look at BetMGM. Where's he at on BetMGM? He's at a plus 400. So I might just do the bet now, because that bet might change when it comes into the fights. So get that bet in right now, Anthony Smith at a plus 400 on BetMGM. Let's take a look at him. Like I said, he's Lionheart, 38-21. He's got 21 losses in the UFC. He might get you kicked out of there. So he might be on just one more fight here. I don't know where his fight contract is or where he lands on that. So he might, hopefully he gets it. He's a battler, man. He's got heart, dude. That's why his name's Lionheart. He kicks it. Puts all his heart into it. All right, so Reyes, he lost to Reyes last December. He lost to Dolidze back in June. His last win was via submission with 2 minutes in the first back in May of last year versus Petrino. And then he lost to Roundtree Jr. via knockout back in December 2023. Then he won versus Spann back in August of 23. And then he lost to Walker. So he's been battling back and forth, and he's coming on a 2 loss. His last loss was back in May last year. Does he take too many fights too quickly? Should he let his body rest and then come back into the octagon? It seems like that when you look at his record here. It seems like he tries to get back into the ring too early, or octagon too early, and tries to get as many fights as he can throughout the year. But Johnny Walker really doesn't look that great to me. And but this was back in May of 2023. Johnny Walker did beat him again, his decision. But after that knockout Walker took a few years back or something, it was like a head kick or something. It just like grazed him, and he just like falls back like a freaking, just crumbled like a rag doll, which was crazy. That was like really insane knockout, by the way. I can't remember who even gave him that knockout. It was just insane. But anyways, I think Lionheart will get the win. Excuse me. He needs it. He needs it. This is more heart than head for me on this pick. So Lionheart is going for my heart and get the dub. So anyways, going to the main event. The main event of the evening. Welterweight, number 17, Ian Machado Garry versus number 13, Carlos Prates. At minus 130 Ireland, at plus 110 Brazil. So I'm taking Ireland all day, every day. Let's take a look at BetMGM right here on if it doesn't jack up. All right, he's at a minus 135. Minus 135, and Prates is at a plus 110. Looks like it's the same. So Prates is the same. And Garry is at a minus 135 and minus 130. So it's kind of pretty much identical. Let's take a look at him. Dude's the future. He's a beast. He's up and coming. He's starting to make a name for himself. He's finally ranked in the top 15. He did lose via decision for a 5-rounder against Rachmanov, and I believe I did watch that. But Garry did have a really good showing. They both were going at it and battling. And then he won against Page via decision. Then he won against Neal via decision, or split decision. He gets the dubs. Like, look at all these wins in a row here. His last loss was just the last one back in December, and I think he's ready to snap that losing streak because it's only one. So let's take a look at his stats and facts coming out of Dublin, Ireland. Pro since 2019, but about, 6 years. He has 7 wins by KO, 1 submission, rear naked choke, 4 first-round finishes. Holds a March 2021 knockout win over UFC vet Rostam Akhman and reported 6-1 amateur record. So I'm hoping they stand and bang. Let's keep it on the feet, boys. And Garry is going to get the KO, probably in the first. So Prates' best bet is to try to take him down, but I think Gary's grappling and bottom work is pretty well-rounded as well. So I want to know what happens. I'm really excited to see this. And I almost forgot our bonus bet, which I should have already went through and then went to the Machado Garry last. But give me Ian Machado Garry and minus 130. All right, so now we're doing our little bonus bet. It's going to be quick. The very first fight of the night on the prelims, she is Chelsea Chandler, number 14, against an unranked, and she is at a plus 235. It is underdog night in UFC Kansas City, United States versus Panama. Let's take a look at Chelsea Chandler, shall we? All right, we shall. She's only has a couple wins or a couple fights in her UFC right now. She's only 6-3. So let's take a look at those fights, shall we? So the last one she lost via decision. Then she won in decision, and she lost decision. So according to the back and forth seesaw here, she should win because she lost back in August and she won back in March. So win-loss, and she'll get the win on this one. Let's take a look at her bio. Fighting out of Stockton. Okay. Is she a property of the Diaz brothers over there? Not property, but, coming from there. That's pretty cool. Stockton's own. But pro back in 2018, 2 wins by knockout, 1 by sub, 2 first-round finishes. lost her pro debut, and she's 6-2 since. So has won 6 of her last 8. All pre-UFC fights and Invicta FC promotion. So she's fairly new to the UFC. Is she getting the jitters? Is she finally over the nervousness? We'll see as she's ranked at 14. Give me that. Money's. All day, plus 235 over Jocelyn Edwards at a minus 290 against Panama. Oh, we got to look at the odds here. Chandler is at a plus 240 on BetMGM and a plus 235 on ESPN bets. All right, so there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Love you guys. God bless. Tip the wagers.